everyone, and thanks for coming along. So I'm going to talk to you this morning about the Construction Engineering and Management Programme that we run here at the Jordanstown campus. Obviously, these are strange times, and we're preparing for probably quite an interesting, have to say, September start. It's likely that anybody who's joining us in September will be taught remotely, as is the case in most UK universities. We're drawing up contingency plans for all that at the moment. So what I'll do is I'll run you through some information about the programme and the professional body and answer any questions that you have at the end. So thanks for choosing Ulster is the first thing. We're very proud of the courses that we deliver and the quality of our teaching staff and the quality of our students and our graduates. Hopefully you'll choose construction if you're interested in a career in construction management. The course has huge influence in the industry. We won a special prize from the construction professional body a couple of years ago in recognition for our contribution to the industry. So if you're interested in the construction industry, we have brilliant links and some great graduates. We're #1 Northern Ireland University for student satisfaction. We scored 97% for student satisfaction last year. Our construction students and our students in the built environment pretty much love what we do. They find us very supportive, and that's the reason that we score so highly for student satisfaction. We're very attentive to the needs of our students. We're very easy to contact, and we're kind of solidly behind our students the whole way through the programme. What's it about? Construction management. Well, you probably know how the built environment operates, and if you don't, if you think of built environment, any of the buildings, think of the nearest city to you is probably Belfast. If you think of the major construction projects that go on, you know that the buildings have to be designed and they have to be constructed and then they have to be looked after during their use. Construction managers are involved in that whole process, and nowadays with more and more emphasis on the environment, we have to be very conscious that from the outset we design buildings with recycle in mind. So construction professionals are very, very engaged and involved in that whole process, and from the outset they have to understand how the design and the construction process and the use of the buildings and how they're recycled is done with the minimum impact to the environment possible. So it's critically important that construction professionals have the technical knowledge and skills to be able to work in that complex environment, and that's what the course is designed to do. We work in conjunction with the industry to ensure the relevancy of what we teach. And what I mean by that is we get the feedback from key industry players who look at every aspect of what we teach, look at the research that we're doing, and make sure through industry partners in our professional body that we prepare students for exactly what the industry needs, which means that our students are extremely employable. The industry reliably knows what they can expect from our graduates. They know the product, and for that reason, any of our students who graduate with the degree, in other words, they pass the years and leave with an honours degree at the end, if they want to work in construction, they're almost guaranteed employment in a very highly paid and exciting career. So the job ultimately that students will do when they graduate, your first role on site will be a graduate site engineer, which is the step before construction management. Obviously, graduates have to get a little bit of experience under their belt, but the job that you ultimately will do is a construction manager. And it's funny, I'll talk about it more in the next slide, but the impression of working in the construction industry still has some old-fashioned connotations for some people. The construction industry is an extremely modern, exciting career. Uh, a lot of the work involves CAD and digital technologies, so it's an exciting career. Um, so the construction managers direct operations in a construction project, and they make sure that's done safely and within budget. So there's a whole range of hats that a construction manager will wear, everything from people management to cost management to sequencing to health and safety. It's a broad net of knowledge that they need to bring. What I was going to say, and why I'm going to mention it in this particular slide, is there's a perception which is thankfully now disappearing and has been disappearing for a number of years, that the construction industry is not an industry that women consider. And part of the reason for that is because it's seldom a career that is promoted in schools. We find in talking to careers departments and in going out to schools that it's not something that is promoted. Women make around 14% of the construction industry, as you can see, and our courses are really trying hard to encourage more girls to get involved in construction. The skill sets needed in construction, particularly communication skills and organizational skills, girls are brilliant at that stuff. What I was going to say, the funny thing that I was going to say was at one of the careers events a few years ago, a girl came up to me and says, so what's all this about? She was pointing at our presentation, our pop-up stand. And I explained to her, that this is a job, ultimately you do a job as a construction manager if you join us on the construction program. And she looked it up and down and she says, but can women do that? And I said, yeah, of course you can do that. She says, but I'd be strong enough. So there is that idea still in people's heads that construction is for hardy men. Remember that we're teaching you to be a manager. It's a management career that we're training people for. It's not a physical laboring career. So yeah, I think I've made the point. It's a profession that's open to everyone. What are the skills you'll need? Well, first and foremost, you'll need people skills, and that's for almost any job you'll do, but it's particularly important in construction because construction is all about teamwork. Managers lead teams, and if you want your team to operate in an efficient manner, you have to manage them properly. So you need the people skills to be able to motivate people and encourage them to work efficiently and effectively. Creative approach to problem solving. That's where every day on a project there are new challenges to be faced. Construction projects are complex, and you're constantly looking for ways to manage more efficiently and to work more creatively. And all the way through the construction program, we develop these skills with you. Teamwork. As I said, construction is all about working in teams. So in many of the projects that we do through the course, you're based in teams, and in teams often that replicate the makeup of a construction team. So we work in collaboration with colleagues from quantity surveying, from architectural technology, to do collaborative projects that replicate aspects of the construction industry. The one in the 6 o'clock position there, maths and IT, is the one area that sometimes puts off prospective students. The maths level that we require to gain access to the construction program is a GCSE grade C or above at GCSE level. In terms of further skills, we do need a science subject as one of the subjects in your A levels or equivalent. We will bring you up to the standard that's needed beyond that. Obviously, within construction, there are some aspects of design, structural design, which requires mathematical problem solving. There's statistical problem solving as well. We teach you those skills. If you're not mathematical, we will help you to get through that aspect of it. But bear in mind that all the skills that you see here are skills that the industry require, which is why we're teaching them. Our organization management skills speaks for itself, and the technical skills, well, you have to understand how buildings are put together, how the building services operate, how frame buildings operate, how the structural forces are carried. You need to understand that stuff if you're going to be constructing buildings. The course itself is fully accredited by the Chartered Institute of Building, who are the biggest building profession within the UK and have international reach. They accredit the programme, which means that they scrutinise the programme to ensure it's fit for purpose, and the membership of our industrial panel contains our local regional chair of the CIOB and the educational officer of the CIOB. So we have very strong links with that professional body, and students are encouraged from the outset, from year one, to join the Chartered Institute. Student membership, as you can see there, is free. The merits of joining that: first of all, most professional construction companies require their managers to be chartered. So on completion of the degree, you're then eligible to apply for chartership of that institution once you have a little bit of experience. Usually CIOB membership commands a higher salary from your construction employer, and it also signifies that you have an internationally recognized skill set. So many of our students on the program will go on to work internationally, and we certainly encourage in the placement year students to seek opportunities to work abroad. Every year, half a dozen or so will go to the States, some to Australia. We really encourage students to work internationally. And then finally, if you have chartered membership of the CIOB, you're much more likely to be fast-tracked into a leadership role. So there's lots of benefits to students when they join. Obviously, as you are entering a university degree, your intention is to demonstrate your learning. The CIOB have a massive resource of information, which is really, really useful to students who are doing coursework and preparing reports, etc., to have that additional resource of information available to them. So again, we encourage that free CIOB membership for all students on the programme. I mentioned at the start about our staff. All teaching staff on the team are FHEA accredited. That's they all have the fellowship of the Higher Education Academy, which effectively demonstrates that they have a high competency in their ability to teach on a university program. It's an independent accreditation that our staff can demonstrate, and our success in the program also demonstrates that our teaching staff have got the credentials to make sure that they help you in every way to achieve the best possible outcome on your degree. Also, we have very active research in the area of construction, and it's internationally recognized research, and that research informs our teaching and allows us to help direct students towards research projects themselves for their dissertations, and to look at the cutting edge in terms of construction products, materials, and practice. So we have those credentials to really help you along. At this stage, you're probably wondering exactly what the structure of the program is, the subjects you'll be taught, and how that relates then to your professional life. There's so entry to first year. If you enter the first year of the program, the normal route obviously would be for a first year entry. Students perhaps doing the foundation degree would be eligible to enter year 2. But first year entry, we need to give you the grounding of the program. So you'll learn about the construction industry, the linkages between different aspects of the industry, the rules and regulations that apply and the interactions between the different disciplines. So that's kind of giving you the underpinning. You'll learn about technology and services, which is the area that I teach. And in first year, you'll be looking at how domestic buildings, domestic scale buildings are put together, what the construction materials and methods are, how building services for domestic construction operate, and that will then give you the grounding to understand other aspects of the construction process. You'll look at building design, which is not the technology, but the structural calculations and the structural design of buildings. You'll look at measurement and surveying, which is the measurement of construction works. So if you think about, for example, foundations, you'll learn how to estimate the amount of concrete required, the amount of brickwork and steel and so on for construction projects. BIM project then is an interdisciplinary project which is based around building information modeling, which is effectively the electronic modeling of a building and its process of construction. So BIM is not just the simple AutoCAD CAD drawings of buildings. It looks at the whole process and costing and integrates that into a system. So your project will introduce you to the operation of that, and will contain lots of simulation, lots of CAD work, lots of costing and measurement. And then finally, you'll look at materials and structures, and that again is looking at the material in more depth at the materials that make up domestic scale buildings and the structural requirements. Year 2 builds in that. Then year 2, you'll see technology and services 2. That moves from looking at domestic scale buildings to look at large scale frame buildings and framed in concrete, steel and timber. Building design and quantification takes that measurement of buildings and moves it up to the next level. Effectively, we're preparing you in the second half of year 2 for an active industrial placement. So the second semester of year 2 looks at health and safety, looks at the practice of site engineering, and looks at construction law. And these subjects overlap with each other. So that would prepare you then for the year 3 placement. Year 3 placement carries an additional award of the Diploma in Professional Practice for students successfully completing it. It's a year supported by the university where you work within the construction industry as a junior site engineer generally. You get involved in various aspects of construction projects, everything from running site inductions in health and safety to on-site measurement, using theodolites, etc., to perhaps measurement, maybe even in the human resource area. Our support team that support you in placement ensure that with the employer that you get opportunities to look at all aspects of the industry. So you'll not be in just one particular area. You'll be looking at different areas within the particular company that you're working for. Students are not found placements. It's you're directed and helped to apply for placement positions. So you can choose to work either locally or abroad, and we help and our student support help with the whole application process and preparing you for interview and all that kind of thing. So that's the placement year, and it is the industry consider it to be one of the most key parts of your learning with us on the program, because it gives you the real grounding for your entry to year 4, so that when you look at some of the subjects in year 4, you can understand those from the perspective of having some experience. So when you look at construction project management, you've been exposed to that and you can understand the necessity for it. So if you understand the necessity for doing something, it makes it much easier to learn it. We can all think back to well, some of us can think back to years ago at school where you learned various subjects which you thought, I'll never need to know that in the real world. If you actually have the experience and you've seen some of this in action, construction management in action, how regulations and building performance is measured and how important it is, then it's much easier for you to contextualize that and understand why you're learning it. So year 3 critically underpins year 4, and in year 4, your marks from effectively 30% of your marks from year 2 and all 70% of your marks from year 4 count towards the degree classification that you'll leave with. And we encourage everybody. We have a really strong cohort currently in year 4, and everybody pushes really hard to achieve the best they can with our support. In terms of your career options, I've said here 90% of construction graduates are in work or further study 6 months after finishing. And that's usually by choice. And students don't always graduate from their degrees and go straight into the workplace. Sometimes students will take a year off to travel and so on. But as I said earlier, we're very strongly supported by the construction industry. And if a student graduates from the course successfully, they can be almost guaranteed, particularly if they've had a placement with the company, they can be almost guaranteed a job offer. And despite everything that's going on in the world, despite downturns and this whole COVID crisis, construction is still there. Construction is, you're already seeing this past few weeks, workers return to site. And it's a high demand profession. The areas that you can go into, you can see you've probably been reading this while I'm talking. So our graduates generally start off in site engineering. They're dealing with health and safety site engineering, which is the management and setup of construction sites and the organization and running of them. They go on to be site managers. They get involved in estimating. You can get involved in supply chain management as well, which is the whole process of managing construction materials and products from their manufacture to their delivery to site. Construction management itself contains disciplines such as facilities management. So that's looking after, if you think of the likes of the university and other organizations like health services have multiple buildings in their portfolio, and you can be involved in managing that portfolio of buildings, looking after the maintenance, looking after new build, looking after ongoing repair, etc., and managing that whole process. You can get involved in pure project management, which is managing the project on site. Contract management would be more managing the actual winning of contracts and seeking work for your company. Bid management is managing that process. You can be involved in building control. Building control are the people who are responsible for ensuring that buildings are constructed to meet the building regulations, which look at things like the structural stability, fire safety, disabled access, not to be confused with health and safety management, which is the management of the construction process. Health and safety, building control look at the building as it is designed to be handed over to ensure that it is safe to be used, rather than the process of building it is safe. That's the health and safety executive. You can get involved in the planning service, who plan for new buildings and infrastructure. You can go into the demolition industry, and you can be involved in the whole programming of construction work. Various sectors, health, housing, education, infrastructure, private sector, which would be house building and so on, and working in that area, and public sector, working for local authorities and the government itself in terms of their construction projects. So that's the kind of range of careers options. Another big question that students like to ask is, what will I earn? Well, it's quite surprising that salaries are well in advance of what most people expect. So construction manager is a very well paid job. Average placement salaries are about 18.5 or thereabouts. Highest placement last year, £27,000 was the highest placement paid last year. Average starting salary for graduates, non-chartered, around about 30,000, chartered 47. And if you are living away from home, quite often students or graduates are employed by local companies, McAleer, Rush, Graham's, people like that, who have projects that are going on overseas, UK mainland or further afield. So on top of your salary, if you're working away from home, you're normally paid a living away from home allowance. You're normally provided with accommodation, and that makes it very, very lucrative for anyone engaged in that. Compared to, in terms of career paths and so on, chartered builder 47, project manager 45, QS 41, construction manager 50. Very, very healthy salaries as you gain experience and move up within the construction industry. So, and really, really defined career paths and very rewarding careers. A word about our graduates then, finally, or as we approach the end. The university has over 200,000 alumni worldwide at present. So our graduates, this is not just obviously construction, but across the piece, our graduates go to work internationally, and the skills that we give and the teaching, the subjects that we cover are recognized internationally. Our students have had some really good successes recently on the construction program. Paul Marlowe, MCIOB, is a member of the Chartered Institute of Building. He was UK Construction Manager of the Year in 2016, employed by McAleer and Rush, graduate of our program. Margaret Conway, MCIOB as well, UK Construction Manager of the Year, which is a really prestigious award, 2017. She's McAleer and Rush as well. Ronan McGrath was Ireland Construction Manager of the Year finalist in 2019, works for Mac Group. That's just a snippet. Our students, our graduates are extremely successful in their field, and if you join us on the construction program, you're likely to have graduates from the program come in as guest lecturers to tell you about aspects of construction and tell you about their career paths and the time that they've had with Ulster. So I'm conscious I'm 25 minutes and I've nearly used it. The last thing I want to show you before we take questions is, Johnny, do you want me to skip this?
No, you go ahead, yeah.
So the last thing I was going to show you before we finish up is we have a little promotional video, and in it there are no actors. All of the people you'll see in it are graduates of the program or current students, and it gives you a wee bit of a feel, I guess, for the construction program and what we do.
As populations shift, whole new communities are created, driving the need for new housing, roads, schools and hospitals. Meeting that need takes the skills a degree in construction engineering and management from Ulster University will give you. And today, demand for those skills has never been stronger or the opportunities greater.
My degree was so crucial to getting the job that I'm in now. I was involved in this project more or less immediately after graduating. It's one of the most prestigious developments in this part of London, and it was a landmark project for the business.
The degree is so wide-ranging, and because the grounding you get is so comprehensive, every avenue of construction is open to you. That confidence has helped me manage multi-million-pound projects. It's all about vision and problem solving, but that's what I'm trained for.
The quality of teaching students receive at Ulster University's School of the Built Environment is globally recognised. That's why our graduates are in demand.
If you're ambitious and hard-working, the Ulster University's Construction Engineering and Management degree proves a real passport to success.
So who will provide tomorrow's schools, roads, houses and hospitals? Who will shape the new world of tomorrow? The answer could be you. With a degree in construction engineering and management, the prospects are exciting and the possibilities are endless.
So there you go. Hopefully you found that informative and enjoyable. So I'm happy to take any questions, Johnny, that have...
Yeah, there's actually there's a few come in, Mark, through the chat facility there. One of the first ones is with regards to IT and software. What variations of software do the students use on the program?
Okay, so the first thing to say is that any software that's required, we know we're approaching a semester one where we probably will have to do a lot of remote teaching. Any of the software that's required is available to you free, or if the company do not release it free to students, we're making arrangements for you to be able to remotely access the computers that carry that software in the university. So AutoCAD, Revit, AutoCAD itself, we use Microsoft Project. We use the Office suite, all parts of it, from Excel through to Word, and all of the software that I'm mentioning here is, if you join us as a student, is free for you to install and use as a student. I can't think of the name of this. There's a structural analysis program. Can't think of the name of it. Caught me in the hop. But as I say, the main ones would be Revit and AutoCAD, Excel. Can't think of the structural one.
Not a worry. It's just I think someone's just the variation, and I mean, how often do they, I suppose, change in terms of being upgraded as well? Because we know that is the case for example, for like architecture or for other programs. Well,
we keep the latest version of each of the softwares that we use is what we teach. So we're currently using AutoCAD Revit 2021. And again, the university have licenses for that and free licenses for students. The other thing to say is that because we anticipate remote teaching, there's currently a specification being drafted up by our CAD department, our IT people, for a minimum spec, if you will, for a PC that would be suitable to run the software. That's still in development. We expect that to be completed fairly soon. So students joining us will be, it'll be indicated to them the sort of minimum spec that they would need to have to enable them to fully participate. We have been running, just to say, Johnny, obviously students are maybe concerned about remotely teaching and remote lectures. We have been running through the whole latter half of semester 2, all of our lectures online. We use a system called Blackboard Collaborate, which doesn't require any special software. It's available through your web browser, and it allows a really good level of interaction. And our students, we've just more or less finished marking our semester 2 work, and our students' performance this year is as good as, if not better than in previous years. So we've managed the whole process through COVID to this date without any real hitches so far, touching wood, as I say.
Yeah, I mean, I've got a few figures here actually, just for those of you who are concerned about teaching and learning in September. To date, since the 17th of March, Ulster University have delivered 7,400 live sessions through Blackboard, 86 concurrent sessions in one particular day, which is quite a lot through a system. Even in this last week, 500 live sessions as well. So the virtual learning environment in Blackboard is well equipped to offer extensive and a very good teaching experience, of course, not just for the academics, but for all the students on the programs as well. They've had over 3 million page visits to Blackboard itself, and a daily average of 12,000 unique users, given the fact we have roughly 25,000 students across undergraduate and postgraduate programs. it gives you an example of how we're able to host the virtual environment and to make sure and to maintain the quality of the teaching as well. And that will continue to be the case, hopefully, in semester 1 as well. I'm just going to go to the Q&A here because a couple of questions have come in. Is, of course, moving to Belfast? I can answer that. Yes, it will be moving to Belfast, as will all the programs that we currently offer up in Georgetown as we currently speak. And a lot of the specifications, room and facility requirements are already drawn for that for the Belfast campus. Do you think the coronavirus pandemic will have an impact on the construction industry? I assume it will do in some shape or form. Obviously, developments are happening as we speak in terms of treatments and hopefully some success in vaccine that will hopefully speed up a return to normal. But Mark, I don't know if you want to say anything.
Yeah, there's no industry that we can think of that won't be affected in some way. The construction industry is gearing up. It's one of the industries that's maybe slightly easier to socially distance. So we're anticipating some impact, but construction companies are raring to get going again, and they are ready. I mean, people are already on site. I think
it'd be fair to the construction industry. They were the first ones probably back on. You know, outside of the key workers and obviously in hospitals and stores and groceries and so on, construction industry one of the first ones back on site.
Yep.
As well. Another one, there is a lot of essay writing involved in the course, or any of the jobs. I'm not sure what that second part of that question is, but is there a lot of essay writing first?
What we try to do is we move from traditional essays to structured reports. Again, everything we do with you as students, everything we teach you is, as I mentioned, it's scrutinized by the industry. We have, you probably saw on my last slide there, just when I finished up, there were a lot of company logos on it. Each of those logos represents a company who have a member on our industrial panel. And our industrial panel inform us, and we know ourselves because we're all from construction backgrounds. Our professional panel inform us of the skills that they need from students. So if you write essays, well, they're professional reports we're moving you towards. If you write professional reports, it's because the industry needs you to be able to do that. And there's no more professional report writing, if you will, needed than is required to ensure that you have that skill set. So we're developing skill sets in you that you will need for industry. So there's a mix. Yeah, I was going to say, Johnny, last time, there's a mix of assessments, everything from written reports to preparing presentations, as in stand-up presentations, because again, the industry needs you to be able to do that. So we arrange for a range of ways to assess you.
And I know that you mentioned there during the webinar about the percentage of females on the program and the importance of encouraging.
Very much so.
To construction, likewise for engineering and all those sort of traditionally male-dominated sectors is very important. And I think STEM promotion over the past 10 years has helped that in many sectors. It's obviously out there. What are the percentage of females on the program at the moment? Just to give people an idea why we're pushing for us.
Okay, so I'm not going to calculate the percentages, but what I would say is we've got about 40 in first year and 4 of them are girls. What's that, 10%?
10%, yeah.
Yeah, so second year, 3 girls in a group of about 50.
Yeah, and I can recall being involved in the School of Engineering for career development for them, supporting that. And one of the big success stories there was biomed engineering. You know, from 3 out of 60 to now 33 out of 60. So balance has been.
There were a few years ago, Johnny, that we were getting none.
Yeah. So
we were getting no girls to the program whatsoever. So it's certainly improving, and the girls who are with us are loving it.
Yeah.
They love the mix of skills, and generally we attract people who do not want to be desk bound, stuck behind a desk, as you would say. They want to be out and active and involved, but have that management role. So we do that. You know, people do really enjoy the mix of skills that come with the program and eventually the career.
Okay. Look, Mark, that's all the questions addressed for today. First of all, thanks for delivering the session today. I'm going to take everybody just through the last couple of slides before we finish off. And it's just primarily to promote, obviously, our upcoming webinars. If my slide would push ahead here. Come on.
Thanks, Johnny.
Obviously, this webinar was a part of our applicant webinar series. You'll find out more about what we have coming up on ulster.ac.uk/events. If you've missed any of our webinars, you can view those on the previous section within this webinar section of the website. It'll be on the left-hand side, and you'll be able to rewatch. I'm sure Mark will be glad to hear this. You'll be able to rewatch today's webinar later on today if you have missed it, or if you want to pass it on to any friends or any colleagues. For those of you who work on the career service, you can pass this on to any colleagues who didn't get a chance to see it this morning. Our open days, which were initially scheduled for the beginning of September, of course, will not be happening in their physical format. We're working very hard at this moment in time to get everything online and to have a virtual open day. That will likely take place in the very first week of September and will be announced over the next few weeks. And we'll make sure to make that as an informative and engaging and interactive open day as possible, to give you as much of a sort of visual interaction and a view of our campuses. And hopefully by that point, there may be a further easing of the restrictions that we have now as well. Getting in touch, of course, Mark has details there on the slide. You'll be able to find them on the website anyway, on ulster.ac.uk. If you want to get in contact with our admissions department, there are the telephone numbers. Incidentally, this webinar presentation will be sent to all those attendees today. We have all your email addresses, so we'll send them out to you. And again, it is available as a recorded version on the website as well. The platform there, Unibody, very good way for students or prospective students or applicants to contact our current students, especially those maybe who are studying construction for Mark's benefit today. And that enables you to get in touch with them and find out what they think about the course, the facilities, the teaching, why they chose construction, and connect with them. So it's really good, a bit of research platform for you considering your programs. That's us for our construction webinar for today, guys. Thank you for joining us, and again, thank you for Mark for delivering the session.
No problem, glad to be here.
Good luck, keep safe, and hopefully we'll see you all at Ulster University in September 21. Thank you and goodbye.
Thanks, guys. Thank you.